Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to TC New Tech March Edition. We've got a great event planned for you. Hey, thank you. So we're very excited. We've got some really amazing pitches tonight. Thank you so much. We have 4 amazing pitches from all over the state. We've got people from up north. We've got people from downstate. We've got people from right here in Traverse City. So it's going to be really a great session. So without further ado, first things first, I have to introduce my 2 hosts. We got Lisa Baker and Catherine Palms. They'll be taking us through most of the evening tonight with our pitches. And then let's jump right into some of the housekeeping stuff. So first things first, have you checked in? If you have not checked in, please do so. If you're planning on voting tonight, and this goes for everybody online as well, please make sure you scan that QR code or go to app.tcnewtech.org. Just get checked in. The app is great for a whole bunch of things, from voting to donating to just being kept apprised of all the future events so we don't miss any more TC New Techs. Next, we've got, please silence those cell phones. So we don't want to hear that in the middle of a presentation. It's awful. It's really hard for the pitch presenters to stay focused when that's happening. We'd rather hear this. So basically, we want you to keep your phones on because there's going to be a lot of QR codes throughout the event. It's very, very, very interactive, which leads me to this one. So we are on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. So just search us TC New Tech. Please take pictures, take videos, check in, do all the things that get some attention around the event. We do a lot of really important work here in Traverse City, and we would love for the community to know what we are doing, and the best way for us to do that is through you, and we want you to be involved in that. So please make sure to tag us and tag our pitch contestants. And so that brings us to our schedule for the evening. We're going to start out with a quick tip from SCORE. They're going to talk about startup basics. Then we're going to get an update from 20 Fathoms on what they've got going on over there. We've got our 5-minute pitch presentations. Got our wonderful pitch presenters there. And then once we're all done with that, we'll do audience voting and PSAs. Quick note about the PSAs, the microphones will be down here in the aisles, and you'll be able to walk up there, line up, make your 30-second PSA, and then let the next person take over. And then once we're all done with the PSAs, the voting will take place during the PSAs. We'll go ahead and announce the winner. And that is based on audience vote. So like I said, you'll need your phone. And then when we're all done, we've got something special today. We've got the TCAPS STEM and Robotics Labs Forum. So it's a community forum that TCAPS is putting together to discuss their plans for what's going to be happening over at TC West and Central. Very excited to see some of the plans that they put together. They're incredible. So without further ado, and I know I say that a lot, I'm going to bring Bill Palladino up from our board at TC New Tech, who's going to talk a little bit about what TC New Tech is and why it's important.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Palladino. Thanks for being here. Great audience tonight. I know we got a lot of folks online as well. But you know why I'm here is to tell you why we're here. TC New Tech is a little tiny nonprofit organization whose job it is to build, expand, and support the technology ecosystem in this region. Our job is really to put on this event and to be the tip of the spear, if you will, of the technology ecosystem. That's our job. But we can't do it without your support. So we need you to turn off your ringers and turn on your dingers and open up your app. This little spot there you can find where you can donate to TC New Tech. We don't charge at the door. You notice this is a pretty hip event. We got 100 so people here tonight. We didn't charge you a single penny to walk in the door. We ask you, do your best, go to the app or go to the website, donate a few bucks to us as you can. It's really important. If you own a company, please, we need sponsorships. We always need sponsorships. You can talk to any of the board members here or to Chris and do that. I've got a 20-year-old stepson who likes to tell me the only way you're going to get people involved is to say, let's go! So can I hear all y'all say it? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go! Let's do this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. All right, at this time, we wanted to give a really big thanks to 20 Fathoms, our gold sponsor. They do so much to support our startup ecosystem here in Northern Michigan. So thank you, 20 Fathoms. And we're going to invite, yeah, awesome. We're going to invite Carrie Amott to come up to talk about some updates. Here she comes. What? Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. I didn't get any walk-up music today, but that's okay. Oh, there it is.
I missed the slides.
I think we're looking for Dave Summers right now. Is Dave Summers here?
Hey, Dave!
I'll go back.
She started singing.
Sorry, Carrie.
We can wait.
And that was Bill Palladino, not Dave. And that's Carrie Umlaut.
Mistakes happen. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I'll make lots of them. So, hi, everybody. Good to be here. I'm Dave Summers from Traverse City SCORE. We've got, and we are a community sponsor of TC New Tech, and we're happy to be that. And we're just thrilled the fact there's so many people here this evening. We do have a good turnout from SCORE membership tonight. So all the SCORE people, raise your hands. Well, I thought we had, oh, there's another. I thought we had more than that. Okay. Raise both hands. So at any rate, for those of you that don't know what SCORE is, I'm not going to take the time to explain it here, but we do have a table out in the lobby. We'd be happy to talk to you. And I'm thrilled to be able to announce that 2 of the 4 pitch contestants tonight are SCORE clients. So I won't name them, but we're happy to see them have the success they've had and to be here tonight as part of the show. So what I'm here for is to do less than, now it's 4 minutes, to give a quick tip to help you not do a selfless promotion here or self-promotion. So we're going to get, I took this from a bigger presentation that SCORE National uses, and I took out what I thought were some relevant slides for those of you that are thinking about or are starting a new business. So without further ado, I'm going to push the button here. Let's see why, it worked. Okay, do you have what it takes? So I'm not going to read these, but no surprise on most of these. These are fairly self-evident what they would be. The first several are ones that you learn, you gain, you develop. Not surprising. The last one is the one that a lot of our clients come to us for. We don't have money, but we'll be happy to help you in terms of how you can get money to help start your business. We have partners that do that very thing. Okay, next one. A quick little reminder of myths of entrepreneurship. So again, I'm not going to read these. These again are kind of like duh, but no surprise, you'll never have in your life where you don't have a boss. That's just part of life. But again, it's kind of interesting what some of the myths are of entrepreneurship. Okay, what are the realities? Well, this is a pretty good reality screen. So this is, just so you know, there are 10,000 SCORE mentors across the country. There are tens of thousands of companies that we mentor every year. And so this is a fairly accurate summary of the companies that we have a relationship with. So that's a really good reality. After 2 years, 76% of the companies would be declared a success. Now the other reality. After 5 years, it's 50-50. So at 24% of failures from 2 to 5 years, it doubles. So the fact is that there's some very, very vulnerable years between 2 and 5 that you got to keep your eye on the ball. And the headline on both of these is planning is key. And if any of you have or will work with SCORE, you'll find that all we do is preach about planning, business planning. Okay, so here's a tip. Every business owner needs a banker, a lawyer, an accountant, an insurance agent, and a business mentor. Again, fairly obvious, but just so you know up front, these are things you have to be thinking about. And if you avoid any of those, it's kind of at your own peril. Okay, recommendations for startups. There were actually a number of slides in this series. I just took one. It's the KISS principle. And just to let you know, I'd say over 80% of our clients form LLCs. So LLCs are the simplest, easiest way, cost you $50 unless you're military, it's free. And it takes the liability away from you personally and allows you to then be tax efficient with your business P&L. Okay, so that's it. I would just finish by saying we are Traverse City SCORE. We're part of the national organization. We're all volunteers. And we do seminars and workshops at Traverse Area District Library. And there's one next Thursday from 12 to 1. And the speaker, Jeff Hamilton, standing against the door right there. So it's about business planning. So if you haven't signed up, we do have schedules of our workshops out in the lobby. And free mentoring. And if you're interested, we have brochures to go to traversecity.score.org. So thank you very much and have a good evening.
I'll try it again. Thank you, David. And rewinding to thank you, Bill. I was so excited to be up here tonight. I just sped right on into the next thing. So we'll come back. Welcome to Carrie, but also a thank you again to 20 Fathoms. Carrie, let's welcome back to the stage.
Thanks, guys. All right. My name's Carrie Emla. I'm from 20 Fathoms. We're a startup incubator and co-working space here in Traverse City. And we've been around for almost 5 years now. And one of the things that we've learned from working regularly with entrepreneurs is there's a lot of people around here who have really awesome ideas. And the hard part is figuring out how to turn that idea into a business. So we're really excited that there's one more thing that we can offer to help with that. And that is this new Business Essentials course that it's brand new. We're launching it this month in partnership with Northwestern Michigan College. We worked with them to design the course. And here's what you need to know. The application deadline is March 17th. So if you're interested, apply by next week. I will say that we have limited space in this cohort, and we have applications so far to fill about half of those spots. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. This is a weekly course. It's virtual. We know how busy entrepreneurs are, so we're trying to make it easy. You can do it from home in the evenings. Try to squeeze it in among everything else you're working on. It's April through June. And you'll meet with experts and mentors. We have guest speakers each week that are local experts to help teach classes. You'll be learning alongside peers, which is always helpful to learn what others are doing as well. And we are also offering optional in-person events. So this is something that we're really excited to bring to Traverse City. We hope you'll check it out. I'll also add that we have a table out in the lobby. So stop by, talk to myself, Brittany, Gretchen afterwards, and we'd be happy to talk to you more about it. A couple other things we have coming up. We have lunch and learns each month. This month, Melanie DeVries from the MEDC, she is awesome. She's speaking later this month about the myths and reality of tech entrepreneurship and how to get funded. We've had her up here before. She's a really wonderful speaker, super knowledgeable. Definitely come check her out. And then next month, Access to Capital panel. We're hosting that in partnership with West Shore Bank. That'll be a really great one as well. We're featuring local and state resources for capital. Finally, we've got a regular meetup. So if you're looking for something a little more social and less educational, we've got our Women in Tech event every month and also our open house. So come check us out. And like I said, stop at the table afterwards. We'd be happy to chat with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Carrie. Okay, so we're going to get into the pitch portion of the evening. Before I do that, raise your hand if you know where 20 Fathoms is. Okay, so if you don't know where it is, ask someone that raised their hand. No, I'm just kidding. Aroma Building, 4th floor. It's open. Go check it out. Take a tour. Get familiar with the space. They're doing amazing things there. Thanks for your support. Next, I want to introduce not Ryan Joe. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to give you this because I can't hold too many things at the same time. It's Ryan Yokovaci with Myconaut. Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Yakovaci. I'm from Flint originally, live in Marquette, where I drove down today to talk to you all about shrooms. No, not those mushrooms, fungi, but in fact, this is still gonna blow your mind, so hold tight. Me and a buddy, we started this company last year, and we've been foraging mushrooms for the better part of the past 10 years. And what we found out very quickly was that in a lot of these different industries and startups, what's missing is not the problems and identifying it. They're plenty. It's the creativity to get around these problems, the ingenuity. And so, this Nature article published this year, I think speaks to that, why things are less disruptive, patents and research and so forth. And this is what really our company does. I want by the end of this for you to understand an investment in mushroom companies, not just ours, but there are many that are doing different things, is an investment in your children's future. And you're going to understand this at the end of this pitch. So we started this company to problem solve creatively around the most pressing issues, leveraging our relationship with fungi and our microbial allies. So last summer, we threw our hat in the ring at the National Science Foundation, SBIR, phase 1, and we want to myco-remediate PFAS, so remediate using fungi. I'm sure y'all have heard about PFAS, the forever chemical that right now in this room, it's in every single one of us. It is rampant, and it is extremely detrimental to human health and other macro species. It's accumulating in fish. We know this, and we have to figure out how to get around this. It's in everything, and unfortunately, it's a growing problem. This is how widespread this is we keep on looking, we keep on finding it. It's in Europe, it's in Asia, it's entering our hydrological cycle, but as you can see, Michigan has looked quite a bit. Unfortunately, this industry is massive. Think about airports, military bases, waste treatment facilities, right? Unfortunately, this is a major market potential. The current solutions, the problem is that people are claiming destruction, people are claiming, being able to pull it out, but what do you do with it? Do you send it into space? Do you send it back into a volcano? This is the challenge. It's extremely expensive, it's extremely disruptive to pull this PFAS out of polluted sites. Extremely challenging. 7.5 cents per gallon to treat wastewater. This is why those facilities cost so much. Let alone in soil, if the problem is in the soil, we can lock it up, but you can't pull it out. Nobody's figured out besides washing or burning it how to solve this problem. This is where we come in. So we have a process that not only is a fraction of the cost, 0.08 cents per gallon to treat as compared to 7.5, but also we then are not destructive, we grow plants, and we have a value add proposition, which nobody in this industry is talking about. So this is an example of what our partners do, our engineering firms that we work with. You pull that toxic water out, you put it into a pump house, you take it to a pump truck that treats it at a waste treatment facility at 7.5 cents per gallon. Our solution is you irrigate the plants with it. Our company comes in with a very specific microbial inoculum that then ensures absorption into the plants so that we can value add the biomass. As I'm sure many of you know, Dana Nestle won a lawsuit this year. Companies are being forced to clean up this mess. The problem is companies and municipalities are saying, well, the technology is not there. And the government's saying, figure it out. You got X amount of years. These are our target customers, and this is how we're going to do this. Mushrooms break apart and put back together carbon chains. This is their mysterious alchemy. This is what we are leveraging. Yes, the remediation industry is extremely hopeful and has a great growth strategy, but the biomaterials, the value add is really where this is at. The research is the same. It's understanding how in the laboratory this occurs. Our team, we have this pulled together. My business partner, Joe Lane, is a BA in biology, lab and field experience. Our analytical chemist, Tyler Watson, a graduate of NMU at the Medical Plant Chemistry program. What makes us different is not our relationships with our logging companies or any of these other institutions, researchers. It's the fact that we bring unique people together. And for the first time ever with our Smart Zone at Innovate Marquette, we pulled together the U.S. Forest Service, U.S. Senator Gary Peters' office, multiple engineering firms, multiple research institutions to solve this problem. This is what makes us unique. Our ask is $5 million over the next 3 years. We have to expand in these areas and get cash flow. And here are rough projections for the next 3 years. But I want to bring an end and cut into my Q&A here a little bit. Why do we do this? And this, I think, is what I want to make clear. We have to solve problems in a world that seems ever so hopeless. We need stories of hope that are practical and implementable today. This is going to inspire future generations to take that torch and do better than us. And with that said, I just want to thank 20 Fathoms and TC New Tech and the Innovate Marquette Smart Zone for all their support in pulling this together. And thank you all. I will take any questions at this point. Thank you. Yeah, sure, where the mic, yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to talk to Paul Stamets?
Loosely, yes.
Okay, good.
And people, he
But,
wants
I
to
mean,
inspire more and more people to solve the infinite seeming amount of problems that are, but fungi
Understood.
can solve.
But
Hey.
they have done a lot of work on remediation as well, so.
Oh, absolutely.
Just checking.
They're doing space mining of asteroids. They're trying to go to space with mushrooms. Sir. So this is our proprietary information, but go ahead, you finish. So mushrooms, we grow mushrooms that are culinary and edible currently on sawdust. The question is, PFAS is everywhere. This has been a problem for 40, 50 years. It's in all of us. It's ubiquitous. So everything has PFAS in it, technically. The more you test, the more you find out. Growing fungi and other microbes on PFAS, it's already happening. Where our technology comes in is that we gene sequence, we find the secret sauce, as it were, for each specific site. What are they missing? We then come in and introduce that in a very controlled manner with the U.S. Forest Service. We demonstrate, we validate, then we expand to capacity. Does that make sense? We specialize in the microbial expansion, fungi or bacteria. But yes, we are growing mushrooms on PFAS. Probably not. This is part of the toxicology, and this is the reason why we need to expand our laboratory capacity. We need to understand the industry, the science. People can't even, in the mushroom industry, test for if their mushrooms have chlorine in the mushrooms. They can't test for it. So everybody's flying blind. The mushrooms, the shiitakes you buy at the co-op, nobody knows, unfortunately. Please.
If your mycelium is breaking that carbon-fluorine bond, which is the crux of the problem, if it's breaking that bond, wouldn't that, just by definition, make it safe to eat after that?
So this is what we have to understand. Because that fluorine becomes free-floating,
Right.
and fluorine is the most reactive element on the chart. So we have to understand what happens to it, the fate of the fluorine. Because even in destruction claims of UV or supercritical heating, my understanding is matter is not created nor destroyed. So that toxin is going somewhere, and we got to find out where it's going, if it's going into the atmosphere or otherwise.
If it's kind of like carbon sequestration, if you can sequester the fluorine in a benign way, then we don't need to eat the mushrooms, right? But as long as we can lock it up and keep it from getting into the rest of the uptake,
Right. No. So our idea is to take the trees or the biomass that's grown, that PFAS is then in that material, put that through a value add so that mushrooms lock it up, and then use it for heat and radiation resistance materials. So Space Force, NASA, so forth, 3D printing of living mycelium is the idea.
I don't want to monopolize, but what I was going to say at first out,
You know this topic.
brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Thank you.
The question that I was originally thinking for, Russell asked, was obviously in soil is the matrix that you are strongest in. Are there other matrices that you can apply this technology, water, tissue, et cetera?
Absolutely. And there's a Finnish company that's pulling gold out of their waste stream from electronic waste. And so the possibilities are endless. And this is biorefining. This is really the alchemy of mushrooms. The more we study it, the more we find out some of the uniqueness. Sir.
Any idea what percentage of PFAS molecules this could be applicable to? Obviously, there's different chain lengths and
there's like 10,000 different molecules.
Right. So your proprietary technology, any idea like what percentage it could apply to?
Yeah, our research partners at the University of Minnesota, they demonstrated with in vitro defluorination. And so now we can then figure out what the uptake of these fluorine molecules are as we expand our research capacity.
Thank you, Ryan. Oh, you went for me. We're going to invite Alex Simmons of Boone Health to the stage.
All good? All right. Oh, okay. That cuts the music. Okay. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, TC New Tech. My name is Alex Simmons. I'm coming up from Birmingham, Michigan, so about a 3.5-hour drive north today. It was a nice little trip to think about this. But my background before this, I'm actually a CPA by background, worked in investment banking and private equity. I don't know if all of you are familiar with the investment banking world, but notorious for the 80 to 100-hour work weeks, stressed, anxious, burnt out. A lot of that sort of stuff you hear about was my experience. And at that time, I got introduced to therapy and meditation and later coaching. And it had a pretty transformational impact on my life and essentially had two epiphanies going back into the workplace. One of them was that every single one of my colleagues were going through exactly what I was going through. But all my company had at the time, which is really a progressive business by all means, 1,000-employee business, all they had to take care of our mental health was an employee assistance program, which is really a crisis management solution more than anything, meant to be there for end-of-the-line care. And so that was really my kind of aha moment to say, okay, there has to be a more accessible way to do this. And that was really the idea for Boone, was to create a more accessible means for mental well-being in the workplace. Now, if you fast forward to today, there are really three challenges that we're seeing relatively universally across businesses. Recruiting and retention, employees are still coping with stress, anxiety, and burnout, and really an inherent lack of professional development resources, particularly within the small to mid-sized business category, which is really where Boone focuses. So if you look at this chart, what we've really seen transpire is this convergence between mental health and professional development. And you think about COVID and remote and hybrid work, personal life and work life have never been more interconnected. And we are of the belief that they are of the same conversation. You need an integrated solution to be able to tackle personal and professional. And so we created Boone, which is really a personalized coaching platform for employees of businesses, where it's 30-minute coaching sessions that are offered to everybody at the company 2 times a month. It's 100% confidential and it's free for employees. And the idea is that whether it's personal or professional, we are going to provide a personalized connection for your team. So if you look at somebody like Kim, for example, and you have an employee who's looking to work on something a little bit more mental well-being focused, we're going to personalize that option for somebody with Kim's background, where she's a master's levels therapist, as well as has formal coach training in her background. Where on the flip side, if you have somebody who's looking to work on something that might be more preparing for an upcoming performance review, looking to deal with a manager conversation, something more professional development in nature, you look at somebody like Letitia, where she's had 10 to 15 years of corporate experience, whether it be in HR, L&D, C-suite, whatever it may be. So really this diverse range of coach expertise that we're able to personalize. So we have about 200 coaches on our platform today, and we're working with more than 80 businesses across the country. And what we've seen is that this flexibility to be this one-stop personal and professional development tool for businesses, it has led to 30% average sign-up rate in employee utilization across our customer base, which if you compare that to an employee assistance program is roughly 1 to 3%. So about 10x the average EAP utilization, 95% CSAT. We're seeing a 50% relative reduction in employee turnover for Boon users versus non-Boon users within an organization. And 85% of the employees who are using a Boon coach are improving their resilience score after just 6 sessions. So really what we're seeing is that it's a really seamless employee journey once we launch Boon at a given company. It's launched to everybody at the business, so it's democratized, scalable coaching that's available to the organization. Use it or lose it, 100% confidential. Your employer doesn't even know who's signing up for the sessions. And ultimately, what we're doing is we're coming back to the business in an aggregate confidential basis on a monthly basis, where we're giving them all the data they would need to know on what's going on at their company. So you think about, okay, what does utilization look like? This is a 700 employee organization. 42% of their company has signed up for Boon. And it's not just signing up one time and never using it again. The average number of sessions per client across our customer base is about 10 sessions each year with their coach. So on a biweekly basis, you're talking about 6 to 7 months of an average duration. So you can see the CSAT scores of 95, 96%, very consistent across our company. And then the bottom left is really what our employers are concerned about is, what are my people dealing with? What are the most common improvement areas that my folks are looking to work on? And what that turns into is we lead with our one-on-one coaching, and then ultimately we turn into this one-stop shop personal and professional tool where it turns into one-on-one coaching, group coaching, executive coaching, as well as company-wide seminars. So really turning into this right-hand man for the, or woman, or they, for the HR teams that we're working with. Questions from there? Yes.
Hey, super interesting. Can you give me just a quick example of who's the typical best target market customer for you, what the sales cycle looks like, the average
Sure.
deal size, how much they pay,
Sure.
and where does the budget come from in these
Sure.
buyers?
Yeah, good question. So our target market is really 50 to 2,000 employees. Our average company size is 200 employees. I say the knowledge economy. So it's definitely white collar type businesses that are heavily focused. We're typically dealing either with CEOs, COOs, CFOs, so either C-suite or HR leaders. So lots of times, if it's a smaller business, it's going to be the HR leader that we're ultimately dealing with. They're kind of the gatekeeper of these sorts of services. As we work upstream with larger organizations, we're sometimes actually dealing with the L&D division within that organization. So it's either coming from benefits, learning and development, sorry. So it's either coming from benefits or learning and development. Yep. Average deal size is roughly $3,000 a month in revenue.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Great pitch. I appreciate this. I'm curious, as we're seeing the pendulum swing away from wellness culture
Yep.
within organizations back into high performance culture.
Yeah.
I'm curious, besides employee retention, are there any other KPIs that you are addressing with, CFOs or the likes, where you're saying, here's the business improvements that you'll see?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say, we've actually dealt with a handful of companies that have dealt with serious layoffs over the last 12 months. You think about rapidly scaling tech companies. This is a great fit for those sorts of businesses. And we've actually seen that those companies have leaned even harder to Boon, using us not only as a severance resource for their people, but also for the remaining people still at the organization. It's a message of, hey, we know this is a chaotic time. We're still investing in you personally and professionally. But to your point on ROI, we're tracking productivity, work satisfaction, work-life balance, employee resilience, as well as employee turnover. And so what we found is that a lot of these businesses that are healthy in healthy industries, employee turnover is a huge metric for them. So the cost of turning over one employee is roughly $50,000 a year, depending on the industry you're working in. If we're able to say that Boon users are more than 50% less likely to turn over than non-Boon users, we're actually able to say to our customers, you're saving more than $3 for every dollar you're spending on Boon just from employee turnover alone. We're also seeing that the productivity levels of employees who are working with a Boon coach, roughly 80% of them after 6 sessions are improving their productivity after 6 sessions. Work satisfaction, work-life balance, those are 2 others, but to your point, not as in line with high performance. So I would highlight productivity and employee turnover. Yeah.
Thank you.
Consultants or counselors stay in line with the corporate culture of the employees because it's different. So you've got people coaching, like you're people coaching employees of another organization. I find that sometimes the messaging that comes from coaches may differ from the corporate culture of the employees. How do you keep those 2 groups on the same page?
Repeat the question, please.
So you're asking how is our coaching aligned with the culture of the organization across various organizations that have different culture?
Yeah, because if I as an employer
Yep.
hire a coach to coach my employees into what's right and wrong, what their expectations can be or should be, there's no one single right.
Yeah.
How do your
Yes. So we really see ourselves more as a safe space for employees to be able to talk about what's going on in their life personally and professionally. We're not trying to push a certain agenda that might be at a certain organization that might be different from another organization. We're here to help employees process what they're going through personally and professionally. So whether that be more coping with stress and anxiety or preparing for an upcoming performance review or whatever it may be, it's really dependent on what that employee is going through. We do get, company sponsored blurbs around culture and mission and vision and values and that sort of thing. And we're sharing that with all of our coaches whenever we're launching with a new business. But we really see ourselves more as the safe space to be able to invest in your people personally and professionally in a confidential way. And Got it.
Thank you so much. All right, so next we have a public service announcement from the Creative Coast. And I am going to read what they have shared with us. So the key message here is that after a short winter hibernation, Michigan's Creative Coast is bringing back the first Fresh Coast Quarterly Club, otherwise known as FCQC. It's on March 23rd. You can see all the details here, 5 to 7 p.m. right here at the City Opera House. So right back here, same place. The Fresh Coast Quarterly Club meetups are an opportunity for newcomers to the region and locals alike to get plugged into a network, meet new people, and learn about the creative and entrepreneurial community in Traverse City. The event will feature updates from the City Opera House as well as stories from some of the freelancers featured in the Freelance and Independent Talent Directory. The FCQC is free to attend and open to all. Please RSVP through the link on the screen to let them know you're coming. Anybody going? There you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. We're going to invite Jamie Kramer to come up to talk about Beyond Forest. Pretty special to have her back. She has, we've got one for you. We've got one for you. You're good. She has been on stage before and has some new updates to share with us on where she is now.
Yeah, I'm short. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Jamie Kramer, the founder of Beyond Forests. We're memorial technology that allows families to memorialize their loved ones in some of the most beautiful places on the planet. There we are. All right. So traditional funerals may be super healing for some of you, but they are not for me. And I can hear you saying right now, what sort of funeral is healing? But I tend to find solace when I'm going through grief outside, in the woods, or by a river. And I wondered to myself, well, why couldn't we just have a memorial here? But I'm not the only one, because there are 70 million urns at home right now in America because people just don't know what to do with them. Cremation is on the rise. And as you can see, in 1960, the cremation rate was only 3%. By 2040, we're going to see 80% of people cremated. Why is this shift happening? There are lots of reasons. First of all, the funeral industry is extraordinarily expensive. So we spend about $10,000 to $15,000 on a funeral. People are more spread out amongst the country. Families are spread out. And convenience. People are looking for more convenience. It doesn't mean that cremation doesn't have its challenges. It definitely does. Where are you going to memorialize your loved one? How will you preserve that location? And how are you going to share that information with friends and family? To that, we offer a simple solution. We are an app and a kit that allows loved ones to have their memorial with them at all times. And we also save that location for friends and family member. This is what it looks like. This is our kit and our tribute to Betty White, who I think we all miss. So along with this, you will have an opportunity to look up that location. Where can I spread ashes that's safe and I know won't be developed? And then also here, you can put all your photos, your obituary. You can leave memories, and you can also make sure that you can find that GPS location. We're also the only memorial company to work with blockchain technology to make sure that that memory is safe. The addressable market is the global death market is $154 billion a year business, 68 billion in the United States. If we were to take 20% of just cremations in the United States, we'd see a $200 million return. The revenue, we've made a kit that fits perfectly into a funeral home's system and their flow. We will charge them wholesale $95 a year and $500 for a lifetime memorial. Our projected growth rate. Well, we've already spoke with a number of funeral homes and distributors, and we're confident that we can get into about 1,600 funeral homes if we just had the product. Our team consists of myself, Mr. Bradley Matson, and we are looking for a developer. So, hey, I like it. Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry. No joke. We just need something beautiful and simple and a great way to memorialize loved ones. This is our dream team that we've been working with. Reflections and Stardust Memorials, Marcy and Jordan, they're a husband and wife team. They're phenomenal. They service 1,600 funeral homes. Lindsay Yankoff, they service 700 people here in Northern Michigan. And that down there is Mr. Steve Lang, who's been helping us since the beginning. And he's been a wealth of knowledge, former CEO of A Homesteader's Life. I am personally not going to rest until all of us can rest in beauty. Thank you so very much.
Folks, before we ask questions, please wait for one of us. Josh is on that side, I'm over here. The reason we're doing that is to make it fair for everybody who presents, because there are people at home listening and they have to hear the questions. If you don't use a microphone, they can't hear it, and the presenter then has to repeat the question and eat into their time. So please just hold your hand up. One of us will run to you. Thanks.
Excellent pitch. My question was about the funeral homes. So, why would a funeral home want to sell your product? I'm just curious, what is the benefit for them?
Yeah, so this is an interesting question because it was a lot of our research that went into figuring this out. Funeral home, most tech companies, when they're entering the funeral home space, they want to bypass funeral homes because funeral homes have a really difficult time adopting tech, which is why we have created this kit and a card, which I actually have in my pocket. It's this beautiful wooden card. It has a code on it. It's pretty simple. But then we fit right into their product flow, and it makes it easy for them. We also plan to have an affiliate program with them because we have a care marketplace that houses gifts and remembrances, and it kind of works with our grief outreach program. So we plan on touching base with our clients at really difficult times, like at a birthday or at a memorial of the end of life, because they need that. And we're going to offer them some tools to help them through that. And people are also looking for a way to mark that occasion. And that's what we're hoping that grief marketplace will do. Yes.
So I saw you had a lifetime subscription.
Yes.
How does that work on a dead person?
Well, that's a good point. It will not be for you. Your friends and family typically make that unless you're pre-planning, and then you will be able to give that code to your loved ones who you've left behind and share that information. But yeah, obviously I mean, you can enjoy it, I guess, before. You could start early and always plan ahead. You know, I think pre-planning is wonderful. Is there any more questions? Oh,
is there a
sorry, go ahead.
Is there a plan for maybe skirting the traditional funeral homes and looking into the more alternatives, which I know that most people coming of age
I've got
are really
plans,
looking
my dear. Yes, I do. I am starting a nonprofit called Saving Wild Spaces, where we're going to create conservation forests and allow that land to be protected. So that will just work as another product. And then also with that, as we move forward, it's really difficult, I get a lot of questions about natural burials because obviously we're like the space in between. So the plan is to move into that space. There's a lot of regulation surrounding it. So it's kind of after we scale and then moving forward. I hope that answers your question.
So what do you, two-part question.
Sure.
What do you need help developing? And second of all, can you run me through the process of, say, I have been paying for a subscription, my family member's dead, where do they go and what do they go in?
Okay, so first question is, what do I need developed? Okay, so we need the application developed. So that would be the memorial page, and then also that database of all the national parks, all of the permissions. We found out that Central Park, you can put ashes in Central Park. So we just need to make sure that all of those things are complete. We've been working on the database, chipping away at it. So we just need to, does that answer your question? Yeah. Well, if your grandma dies, you can't, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole thing. You can take her, yeah, but you won't then have that location memorialized. Like, we're looking to basically do what consumers already do. We're just helping them, because after a death, you're having a really hard time. You don't know where to put people. It's challenging, and it's challenging to make those decisions. We're helping you make that decision, and we're making sure that you have a safe memorial afterwards. No, we're actually, yeah, not like in cemeteries. I mean, people could utilize us for cemeteries as well. Yeah. And the second part of your question? Oh, okay. And yes, back there. Okay, great. Me too. Thank you. Yes, there are 1.5 million pets cremated every year. That's also a part of our business plan, because, and we'll probably call it something else, but we plan to work with veterinarian's office and be right alongside those pet crematoriums. So thank you for that question. I think we're good. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. And we're going to roll right into a quick announcement from Bradley Masson with Northern Michigan Angels and Northern Michigan Startup Week. Except he's really tall, so I got it.
Yeah, I'm Bradley Madsen with Spartan Innovations and TC New Tech and Beyond Forest, and also Northern Michigan Startup Week. And we have, is there a video too? So we now actually have the schedule of events available on our website. You can go to nmsw.co, and we have the whole week of events available for you there. Quick recap. So starting on the weekend, May 5th through 7th, at the Common Place right downtown here. We've got a startup weekend. Throughout the weekend, we'll have mentors and anyone who wants to start an idea or anything like that. Startup weekend will be that weekend. And then Monday, we're actually going to be doing some wine excursions on Leelanau Peninsula, starting out at 20 Fathoms. And you'll hit 3 different wineries out there on Leelanau Peninsula and learn about the importance of water, and then also drink some wine. And then also on, or I should say on Tuesday, we then have the Seeding Startups event by Northern Michigan Angels, which will be 4 to 6. And then after that, right here at the Opera House, we'll have TC New Tech's University Startup Showdown. And that'll bring university teams throughout the state here to compete. And then Wednesday, we have the Startup Expo and Community Celebration by 20 Fathoms. That'll be over at Bonobo Winery. And then I should say also that day, earlier, we're doing a startup crawl this year. So you'll be able to hop on a bus at 20 Fathoms, hit 3 different startup offices in town, and then hopefully end up back where you started. And then on Thursday, we have Traverse Connect is hosting a great panel, the Innovation in the Great Lakes, the Blue Economy panel. They're bringing in PhDs throughout the state to talk about water innovation, and kind of the future of our region when it comes to water innovation. So should be a great lineup. Go to nmsw.co, sign up, and at least 2 of those events you can register right now, and the rest are coming online shortly. So sign up.
Thank you, Bradley. We're going to get ready for our final pitch, which is a virtual pitch. So Chris is going to come on stage to get that set up for us. If you want, this is a great time to take a stretch break, stand up, talk to your neighbor, maybe reflect on the 3 pitches that we've heard so far. They've all been pretty great, haven't they? Yeah? All right. So our next pitch is Macy Heffron, and she's streaming in from, I forget, where is she coming from? She's Traverse City, but she's traveling. She's on the road traveling, so she's making time to, she's traveling for her company. So she's really looking forward to sharing what she's working on. And I'm forgetting the name now. Wheels on Rails is what we'll be learning about, and Macy's going to be joining us here very shortly. Oh, hi, Macy.
Hello,
welcome.
Everyone.
Macy, you can take it away.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Macy Heffron, and I'm the owner of Wheels on Rails. I'm sad I'm not there today, but I've actually been traveling, which I'll be talking a little bit about later in this presentation. Thank you for inviting me, TC New Tech, and everyone that's there in person and virtually. I'm really excited to be able to share my business story with you guys. Wheels on Rails is officially opening May 25th this year. I'm so excited. We utilize a 3-mile stretch of an out-of-service track in Grand, Michigan. Our tours are 6 miles long, being down and back, and we operate on 4-wheel special manufactured railroad bikes. These bikes glide down the railroad track just like a paddle boat gliding through the water, but a lot easier. We have 2 different options for people to choose from while visiting us. Our tandems are $89 to rent, and they seat up to 2 guests, and our quad bikes are $159, and they seat up to 4 guests. I was able to finally launch my website officially on my 22nd birthday this last November, and since then, we have made a total of $160,000 in revenue. I'm still about 3 months away from opening officially and have a goal of hitting at least 60% occupancy by our opening day, which gets us at $360,000. A lot of you may be wondering how we've hit these record high numbers. I can simply state that our state's truly the best state. The media throughout all of Michigan, from Detroit to Grand Rapids to the Traverse City area and Lansing, where I'm actually from, have reached out to me to listen to me about my business journey and have been able to share it with the public. This is just a few of them that have shared my story. And being able to represent women in entrepreneurship, young entrepreneurship, and women in the railroad industry is such a movement for this business. Along with this, being the very first rail biking business in Michigan to hit our state, people are super eager to try it out. Wheels on Rails has hit some outrageous numbers through the media, Facebook, and word of mouth. We've had 3.5 thousand followers on Facebook already and have gotten over 105.5 thousand website visits. Along with that number, we've had over 250,000 page views with people clicking through our website and have hit all 50 states already. We also have reached 74 different countries and are still counting daily. And every county in Michigan has viewed my website. Wheels on Rails has already made its own movement in our state, and I'm so grateful for that. The rail biking market is very slim. There are only about 10 to 15 rail biking locations that are established throughout the whole United States. Our rail biking community is small, but very close. There's no competition because we're all so far apart from one another. Before even opening this business and through networking, I've been able to do some traveling these last few months, and I've been given more opportunities to open in other places that are highlighted in orange. So the green's already established and orange is opportunity for growth for me. I hope to continue to grow my business and open multiple locations after this Traverse City location opens. My favorite thing about Wheels on Rails is really the problem we're trying to solve for not only the Traverse City area, but for the state of Michigan and the whole United States. There are limited activities that allow for anyone and everyone to do them. People with limited abilities, young children, or even elderly cannot do every single activity out there. With our bikes, we accommodate everyone, which is so cool, and we're continuing to make that happen daily. We have a major competitive advantage compared to other businesses. We're the only one in the state or any surrounding state. Another major thing that we have is the track availability is very limited in our state and other states as well. It's very hard to find different tracks that are in good shape and not being used. So we hope to use all of those tracks, but it's very hard to find that. So there's really no competition. I've had the honor of working with Michigan State College of Engineering these last few months on 2 different bike models, one of which using flash steel tubing for a model, and the other one's using an aluminum frame. Both groups have worked tremendous hours on this project and continue to each week on their different designs. In the midst of this recent tragedy that's happened there, they told me that this was one of the only things that was keeping them going. My ask is $75,000. Splitting that into 2, $35,000 would be going towards my own set of rail bikes after the Michigan State College of Engineering finishes their design, because this first year I'm actually renting bikes from a different location, and $40,000 for a way of transporting my bikes from place to place, because Traverse City will be my summer location, and I'm hoping to open somewhere else in my off season. Thank you so much for having me today. It's been an honor working with everyone in the Traverse City area. I cannot emphasize that enough. The countless number of people and organizations that this community has is unreal. I'm so excited to be a part of this community and be up there come May. Thank you again.
So although this is an online presentation, we still have Q&A options. So we have gentlemen with microphones. Raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question.
When's opening day?
We are officially opening May 25th. We have soft opening, so you guys will start seeing bikes around that area May 21st, and the bikes will be getting delivered May 15th.
Hi. So explain to me, like, do you ride backwards to get back to the start, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's special turnaround mechanisms, just like a train turntable. So the turntable goes in between the track, and you essentially just lift the bike up on this turntable and turn it in 180 degrees, and the bike will go back the other way.
What is the limiting factor for your capacity?
So we are having 10 bikes this first season. So we'll have 6 quad bikes operating and 3 tandems, and then 1 tandem for our tour guides to ride on each tour. So we allow up to 30 people per tour, and we'll have 4 tours a day, 5 days a week.
Thanks. I think you mentioned that you are currently using bikes from some other source. What is that source?
Yeah, so I am renting bikes from a different location out in Frostburg. And like I said, this community is super small. And so I've been able to meet different rail biking businesses throughout the United States. And they pretty much told me they're going to help me with anything that I need help with. And that was getting bikes, since I'm straight out of college with limited funding. So they're allowing me to rent this first year.
Wonderful. I have one more question. It should be quick. You mentioned that there are guides that go along with these. So you don't set people off on their own. You have someone who's accompanying them?
Yes, that is correct. This is only because it's a federal property, and it also will be having 2 road crossings we'll be going over. So making sure everyone's safe, and the tour guides will also be stating fun facts and making the tours fun for people.
What fun. I wish you every success. That's terrific.
Thank you so much.
Do you have plans to add liquor licenses to your business plan?
Yes, I've had a lot of questions about this, and unfortunately, because I'm working with a federal agency, state government, and other entities, I'm not allowed to have liquor. I know it would be fun, but this is unique to Traverse City, because I know other activities in Traverse City are all for that. So having an activity that allows for none of that is also fun as well.
Okay, so I do have a follow-up to that because what's the best way to frame this? We are Traverse City, and we get quite a bit of wine tours and distillery tours and beer tours. So what is it that you're putting in place to make sure that those who choose to participate are not necessarily partaking in the fruit of the vine?
Yeah, so we actually, in our agreement with the railroad that I'm working with, have a statement in there that says it gives us the right to, decline people that come and are either, already a little bit tipsy or have alcohol on them. So our tour guides and myself will have the ability to remove them from the tours.
Looks like we've got one more question in the back.
So you said this is open to handicapped children, families, anything. What kind of insurance do you have to cover for this in case of injury and whatever? How have you covered that?
Yeah, insurance was definitely a little bit different because nothing like this is in the state of Michigan, but the railroad did give me an amount of coverage that I needed to have. And so I searched for different insurance companies out there. I do have liability insurance for this business. It had to be specially written for this business, but we do have insurance to cover any injuries or anything like that.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Macy.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was our last pitch of the evening. So now you're going to need your cell phone. We will need to start the voting process. And to do that, you'll need to be checked in. So you can either check in through our mobile app if you have that downloaded, or you can scan this QR code. I do want to let you know that it's going to ask you to please answer a couple of quick survey questions before you are voting. Also, in the interim, while you're placing your votes for those that are here and online, we do have the opportunity for those in the room to make quick announcements. So you'll see 2 microphones, one in each aisleway. That's going to give you the opportunity to approach the microphone, and we will give you 30 seconds to make any public announcement. So while you're all thinking about running to the microphone, I will let you know that we will make some announcements about our sponsors, but we are always taking extra sponsorship, and we do have a special public forum after this event at 7:15. Judy. All right, go ahead.
Hello, hello. So we are now at the beginning of March. April 1st is the Impact 100 member deadline. We've just heard from startups that are doing great things in the state of Michigan, here in Traverse City in our 5-county area. Impact 100 seeks to inspire our nonprofits to think big with transformational grants funded by women through the power of collective giving. Everyone in here is either a woman or knows one. So please spread the word and have them visit impacttc.org to learn more. Our membership deadline for our 2023 grant cycle is April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
I got one. Who likes to eat local food? Have you guys heard of My Farm Co-op? Anybody? I run a farm co-op that features 25 local farms, and we offer CSA and wholesale options. Unfortunately, our spring shares just sold out, but our summer shares are open and available at mymifarmcoop.org. Right now, in their 16 weeks, you get a box of food featuring about five local farms and an assortment of 25 local farms throughout the season. So check it out, My Farm Co-op.
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of Freshwater Craftworks. It's a web-based platform for Michigan artists to sell their art with no fees. We're launching our website next week, Wednesday on the 15th. If it sounds appealing to you or anybody you might know, talk to me after. Thank you. Oh, freshwatercrafts.com. It hasn't launched yet. 15th. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm John Hoinville from Alpha Django. We're a company that's been based since 2008 in the Ann Arbor area, and we focus on building technology startups. So if you have any interest in technology or know someone that wants to build a startup or needs counseling, we can help you with that. We provide design services, technology development, and just coaching if you need help with building your startup. Thank you.
All right. Here's my PSA from TC New Tech. All of you here right now, you all probably know someone with an idea who'd love to make a business out of that. If you do, text them our email or our website. We'd love to get new people in the queue to be part of this program. Chris does a great job in hitting the streets and finding people to be part of TC New Tech's presentation that you come to every month. We need help every month in finding those people. So please put the word out there. Let them know, tcnewtech.org. We'd love to have some more people involved.
Thanks so much. Anybody else have an announcement? I think we're ready to, are we ready? They're almost ready. Awkward filler. Okay, here we go. I will tell you about what's going to happen at the end of this. For those of you that have not been here before, we do like to partake in some social time. So of course the bar will be open, and then we're going to go to brew. That's for her. And then there is also, like I said, a special community forum after this presentation tonight. So for those of you that are interested in learning about STEM community development taking place at TCAP, stick around because we're going to have a special event for that too. So without further ado.
Thank you, Lisa. Let's give another round of applause for all of our presentations tonight. Thank you. Yeah, really awesome work, and wish you all success on what you're starting. Our grand prize tonight goes to Ryan of My Conant. I'm saying it right? So Ryan, come on up. Ryan, we'll give you the opportunity to say a little something, and then we'll step out for a photo.
Thank you very much. Thank you, 20 Fathoms and TC New Tech and the Innovate Marquette group, an awesome group. If you guys ever want to actually see snow, come up to Marquette and hop on our ski hills. But seriously, so if our company gets funded, I'm absolutely going to hire Boone. I'm going to ride on the rails on a bike, and I'm going to get buried in a conservation forest. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how Michigan rolls. Like, we invest in each other. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. So, yeah, well, we're going to have RJG. Thank you so much for, excuse me, blah. We have RJG sponsoring, I apologize. Our pitch prize sponsor taking a photo down here. So thank you very much. They provide $500 very generously to the winners of our pitch evening. And again, we could not be successful without your support. So thank you, Mike and team at RJG very much. RJG is a plastic injection molding. It's a nationwide organization with headquarters right here in Traverse City. And that pitch check will be reduced down to the real size very soon. So again, we're going to play a quick video from our sponsors. This could not be made possible without them, and we still are accepting additional sponsorship. So as we mentioned before, Creative Coast, they are through Traverse Connect, and they have an awesome website. Hey, Chris, is this just play through? Hey, Chris, does this just play through? Does it keep going? Oh, yeah, it does. Excuse me. Susan Saffordine-Rouser with State Farm Insurance. She does personal and commercial lines of insurance. Prios Consulting, you've heard our friend Bill over here talk about leadership and the things that he does. Check him out online for sure. He's got some really exciting things happening locally and throughout the United States. ProFit Cleaners, they've been a longtime sponsor and supporter, and I think it's clear what they can do. This is the company that I work for. So if you've got employees and you have payroll or human resources or labor concerns, or you need handbooks or benefits, I can talk you through that process. Michigan Economic Development Corporation, money, 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 money. And we're grateful for their money, money, money. I've got to come up with something clever for that one. EDC, 20 Fathoms, as always. Get over and check them out. 4th floor of the Aroma Building. Our gold sponsors, and then this are in-kind sponsorships. So you can see there's a lot of logos there. If you've got something that you feel like you can contribute to our event or our folks in the ecosystem, let us know. We'd love to take your services for free for trade. And then the Score. I know you met some of them today. They're fantastic. They are in spades and all throughout our community have been longtime sponsors and supporters, not only to the event, but to the actual pitch folks themselves. So if you have a job or if you're looking for a job, visit tcnewtech.org. There's a job board made available. It's free, powered through TrueJob. I think we're going on 6 or 7 years of them holding that job board for us. So save the date, RSVP, April 4th, right here, same time, doors open at 5:30. We are going to end the show for TC New Tech and head down to Brew if you'd like to continue the conversation. Alternatively, like I mentioned before, we have some STEM education, Traverse City Area Public School announcement happening right here. And for those of you online, you can stay tuned. We are going to keep the cameras rolling. So I don't know who I'm introducing, except it's probably written down. So let me just see here. Do we have someone here to make, yeah, Michael's going to make the introduction to the next presentation.
First, we're gonna take just gonna take a few minutes to allow Superintendent Dr. John Van Wagner and Heidi Skodak to come in, take the stage, and get everything set up for the TCAP's STEM and Robotics Lab Community Forum. So just about 2 or 3 minutes here. We'll get set up and kick things off.
Thank you so much. So you can hang out or grab a drink, use the bathroom, and come right back here. Just a couple snacks, but you said play the video, but it was like it was going on so long. I was like, am I sure? Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. No, I like it. As long as I know. I knew it, but I questioned it because it was stuck on that first one.
Because I know this is some of it is like I need to make adjustments to how I'm doing things to help you guys. So I don't know if it's worthwhile if you and Catherine sit down for coffee and say, hey, like this is we hit snags.
We would love to do that. We talk about it when we do our stuff. So
See
yeah.
you guys strategizing.
Yeah, we have our little
I
things.
was just saying, Elise, I'd like to, if you guys are open to it, I'd like to sit down sometime this month and brainstorm what's going well, what's not going well, what can I do to
A
help
little
you guys
plus
better.
delta sheet. That'd be great.
Exactly. Maybe a little less fun. Yeah.
That's way informal. You ever done one before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cool. I like it.
You just
Well,
put a
that's your-
sheet
that's
on
your
the paper and you put a line down the middle and you. Yes, and that's it. You just go for it.
Pros and cons. Yeah. They do that a lot with like lean. Yeah. I did A6s. And all kinds of
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
A6s.
I don't need to get that far. But
I
yeah.
like the A6s once they get rolling, but it's like
Yeah.
pulling teeth trying to get people to get started on it, and then once you have your champions, you can run with them.
I know about it.
Does Access Point do lean training?
The executive team does. I think they've been through traction and all
Oh, but they
that.
don't
Like
provide it as a
we
service?
do not. No.
That's a cool thing. It's very
Well, oh, you mean like for no?
Yeah,
That's
it's
more
like it's
specialized. Yeah, no. We'll do succession planning and that kind of stuff, but that's more like
when I was at Britain, they stole the NMC professor for it.
yeah.
And then just
Yeah.
brought him inside.
Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center does like all the manufacturers, and then I'm pretty sure there is now a business lean program that Traverse Connect was running for a while.
Oh, interesting.
They were like powering. I don't think they like actually trained with it, but they brought people in to do it.
So it's Britain. It took them from 30 to 100 million.
I can imagine.
Plus, Paul is like.
Yeah, insane.
Got everybody for
Yay.
So the only thing that I wanted to go over with them, it's all queued up. Should be able to jump right in. Does that work? You're all set. Okay. Yeah, so big green button advances, little red button goes back. Sometimes it's been a little funny tonight, so you might have to hit either one once. Don't use that one, that'll blind everybody.
Okay.
Well,
What can I use to point at the screen?
They ask us not to.
Oh, okay.
So it's just it's sensitive devices. You want to talk to him? He's back there. Chris is here. Maybe. That's something. Thank you. Yeah.
I can use it? Okay.
You ready to go?
Yeah, I thought he was going to sit down for a minute.
All right, good plan.
That's why you're the boss.
I'm like, the architect's in how do you not use the laser device? Okay, we ready to go? Ready to go.
Okay.
All right, all right, everybody, if we could take seats, we'll go ahead and if you're interested in hanging out, you can move to the lobby. And otherwise, we're going to go ahead and kick off the community forum. I wonder if the folks I'll let the folks.
They're probably not going to be quiet for us now.
Right.
Because we were not quiet.
Which is okay.
side of the town is chill. West side of town is like.
What's that?
So the east side of town is chill. West side of town is all like here.
Yeah.
Can someone grab the doors in the back, please? Tell you what, I'll hit those as soon as we. All right, so thanks everyone for coming out this evening. I'm Mike Grollo, and I'm here to introduce our guest this evening. So before we get started, I just wanted to give a big shout out. First of all, thanks to the Opera House and the folks at TC New Tech for helping to sponsor tonight's event. Big round of applause, please, for all of their support. What better place to hold this forum than at TC New Tech? So. Also want to say, hey, we got a great turnout from the Titans West Robotics team. For congratulations on number two out of 40 in their first competition downstate at college this past weekend. Well done. Congratulations. So this is an exciting evening. So back in 2008, way back in 2008, it seems like such a long time, pre-COVID, there was a bond proposal that was passed. And as part of that bond proposal was funding for STEM and robotics labs for TC West and Central. And so here we are tonight. That's coming to fruition. This is happening. And so as most of you know, we became aware of some of this activity back in December. There was some discussion at the board level about using some of the funds that had initially been allocated for the robotics labs for some other purposes. And so a group of us had stepped forward to express some concern. And I just wanted to recognize Dr. Van Wagner and the TCAPS board for their support and reassuring us that they intend to honor the commitments made under the 2008 bond proposal, and to make sure that we have the best state-of-the-art world-class labs that were envisioned back in 2008. So I'm really excited that Dr. Van Wagner and Heidi Skodak are here tonight to present. We're going to start this off with a presentation on the STEM and robotics labs, and after that we'll open up to Q&A. One point of clarification. So everyone here is passionate about STEM, not only about the robotics labs, but also about programming. And we could probably be here for hours and talking about all of that. So, but tonight we want to keep the discussion focused on the STEM and robotics labs themselves. In discussions with Dr. Van Wagner, he's assured us that this is the start of the conversation, not the end. And there'll be opportunities to talk about programming at another time. And so we're really excited to be re-engaging with the district regarding STEM. So without further ado, I'm going to please welcome Dr. Van Wagner and Heidi Skodak.
So good evening. I want to take the time to say to all you, appreciate you showing up tonight late and having the opportunity to see a lot of the culmination of the work that we've been working on over the past few years of trying to look at the best way that we can honor Our STEM programs, our robotics, our Scimatech, all of the programs that we have in TCAPS to make sure that our students have some of the best facilities in our state, and that we have a truly state-of-the-art facility, and a facility that our community can be proud of, but also that is on display to our community. We wanted, one of the things is I started to get into this is almost the end of my third year as superintendent, is how can we make sure that this is the centerpiece when people come to our district, they see it, that it's not, something that's in a far corner or a far back or a separate building. We wanted to make sure both of these at both Traverse City West and Traverse City Central High School are focal center points as people walk into our facilities. And so we're really excited at what we think we've been able to do with that design. These are literally fresh off the press designs. Those of you that maybe had the chance at the table to see the papers, literally the first kind of rendering that we were pretty much at a point of happy with, we got it about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So literally that design process is in that. We've been through many renditions of different things that we didn't think, was as quality as we wanted. Maybe didn't have some key components. And we even still have a little bit. You're going to see, for instance, in the West Senior High designs, you're going to see, you're not going to see restrooms there like you're going to see in the Central High ones. We think that's imperative as people are coming in and out, that's close. And so we're still working on trying to figure out how to incorporate that into or in a hall directly across. Where at Central, it was a little easier. There's one there, and we're able to add another one. So we're still in that phase. And so that's an important part of tonight, that we do have sheets of paper and sticky notes out there. If there are any little thoughts and things that you have as you go through, or just questions, wondering that is important for us to think about, I'd ask that you take the time and just write that on a sticky note so that we can take that back as we sit with our architect, our construction manager, and be able to say, here's something that somebody brought up that was a really good point, about even this doorway, if this was just shifted over there. Or you'll even see in a couple that we have a couple of options still for large garage doors, for instance, to make sure things can get in. There's areas that we think it makes sense here, but we kind of like it over there. And so that's some kind of input we're very open to as well as you look at those designs. But overall, I think we're really excited that it honors where we are with these. And I can tell you that our board, and I know I have a couple board members here. Beth Pack is here from our Board of Education, if you just wave. Josie Balinger from our board, I know, is here. Do we have any other board members here? I think that's all I had saw at this point. So they're here, and I can tell you that we are very committed to make sure these are done to the absolute quality. Financially, we're in a really good spot. We have a contingency of at least $1.5 million left for the project to make sure that we get this done to the satisfaction that we all want. So from a dollar standpoint, we feel very good at where we're at. We're able to renovate some space. One of the issues that we do have as a district, we do have declining enrollment. And, since I've been here, we're about 450 students down in the district. And if you just look at the demographics, our birth rates are getting lower and lower in Grand Traverse County. If you look at the census data we've had, we're getting older. We're not bringing as many young families in. And so we are seeing some empty classrooms and buildings, some of those things. And so we want to honor our space with our taxpayers at the same point, making sure that we have new space and that it's fully functional to what we want to do. So those are a lot of things we're looking at. And again, these things that we're doing like this, all the other things we're doing as we even look towards our next bond, what are things that are going to attract parents and families to Traverse City Area Public Schools? That is on our mind. And so we want to make sure this is top notch when somebody comes in and they're interested as a parent for their child, for STEM, for robotics, for mathematics, for so many of these areas, that we have top-notch facilities that rival any Metro Detroit, any Metro Grand Rapids, or for that matter, anybody in the United States as far as the quality of facility and matching the teaching staff and volunteers that we have here that I think are second to none. So we're excited about that. So excited to kind of walk these through with you. We'll take any questions you might have after, but I'm going to ask Heidi to lead us through. She's been with us from the beginning, even earlier than me. And so we've been working together a lot with our team and the architects on this. And so at this time, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Heidi to walk us through both the Central High School and West High School STEM labs. Heidi?
Okay.
Well, this is probably the most fun part of my job because those of you who know me know I was in architecture and engineering before I went into education. So this is like nirvana for me to present STEM labs. So I'm really excited about not only the process, but really the development of plans on both the east and west side. You'll notice they're very similar. And we looked really at how the plans would meet the needs of our growing, what we hope to be growing STEM program. So in each of the spaces, you'll see a clean lab that will include space for 3D modeling and printing, the laser cutters that we have within the programs. You'll also see computer-aided design and CAD labs. The computers in those labs they have always been, they've supplied us with high-powered computers to be able to do animations and renderings and things of that nature. So always have been able to do that. A meeting room for those meetings room robotics. You guys know how important those rooms are for just having those team leadership meetings. And from a teacher standpoint, those one-on-one or small group instruction spaces to use. So thinking about both those areas. You'll also see innovation and manufacturing lab section, which includes space for the robotics program. And I'll show you in just a few seconds, just that perimeter that actually could, if you pushed everything away, could include really space for a full field, which is considered state of the art. There's also a small amount of storage, an IT room to accommodate the IT needs that we have in particular that are different for that space, and then a raw material manufacturing lab. So this plan is from the central side. You'll see this is TC Central. And you'll notice that, and I can use the laser, right? So the innovation and manufacturing lab space is right out front. So in front here, as it is preliminary planned right now, is a parking lot space area. You'll notice that there are garage doors or double doors going from one space to the other to help with that open concept, right? So as you're working in the manufacturing lab, a lot of times robotics and the engineering teachers know you have kids going back and forth between those two spaces. You'll also notice a dedicated CAD lab with access to that clean lab where those 3D printers would go. And then we have easy access to a raw material and manufacturing lab. This was one of the big requests that we had from people that are mentors from robotics, was to have a raw material manufacturing space due to noise. So like when you're working on the robots and having conversation in those innovation spaces, you still might have, a CNC machine running that then you're talking over, right? So that kind of eliminates that problem, but still allows, you'll see the flexibility to open those doors and go back and forth if you need to. And again, you'll see that meeting space. And on centrals, you will see the addition of the bathroom section, which I think parallels, if we could see over here, I think there's another set of bathrooms there.
If you're in this building, one of the things we loved about this is that it's front and center to the building. When you go down Diligent and you are looking at Central High School, it is the first thing you're going to see front and center. So when you see that end where the restrooms are, that is essentially where the auditorium entrance is right now. So we love the fact that it's front and center, centerpiece, all the parking up front. It has its own entrance, so that we're not, needing to go into another part of the building to be able to come into it. At the same point, we do have doors from inside the building for kids during the school day to be able to come in for those spaces when we use those. So, in some original designs, it was in the very, very far back part of the building that a lot of people don't get to see. And we also really liked the idea of, we were able to take some original classroom space there, completely gut that out and be able to add that. And so now it's an amazing facility with great parking. And we really want to make sure signage and all those things, when people come and they look at Traverse City Central High School, one of the first things they're going to see are these labs, as we name them and sponsor all those different things. They are going to be a centerpiece here at Central High School, and we will have the same, you'll see in a minute, at West High School.
Yep. So you'll see auditorium space here, auditorium entrance, parking down here. And then this is where you see we've tried to maximize our current space that we have with remodeling with the existing addition space. So back here, this is the section that's existing right now and within proximity to the brand new space. This space is high bay. So in those innovation and manufacturing labs, it's high bay. You'll notice a stairway that goes up to an area that does supply some storage and will overlook that manufacturing and innovation space. Again, on the bottom, it identifies the total square footage for the STEM Innovation and Manufacturing Labs at Central and the existing that we're doing the remodel on, which is that 2,300 square feet. And these are very preliminary, but ideas about what the exterior could look like at Central. Keeping in mind, you want to have natural light in there. You want it for sure to be a showpiece for STEM and robotics, and then have an opportunity for also have some wall space that you have for the equipment that we have on there.
So real quick, we would say, if you take that back quick, you know, one of the things I was talking to some of our kids on is we would love to be able to market and have our kids with, a lot of times you see vinyl window clings in those windows. They'll be able to show, you know, their team, their, you know, maybe even have their different awards they won each year could be swapped in and out. So again, it is going to be robotics, and our STEM programs are going to be front and center pieces advertised at the front of Central High School moving forward.
Yep, and with the availability of this window space, you'll also be able to hang those banners that we're so proud of that you keep bringing home for robotics. So that's another exciting piece. On the west side, it's designed a little bit differently, but you'll see exactly the same components included. One thing I'll also identify is this red dashed line is actually a perimeter of a full robotics field. So that space will be designed so that furniture in the center can be pushed aside and on wheels, so that flexibility of space depending on what is happening in that space. My guess is that we'll have multiple things happening in that space, sometimes at a time. So lots of opportunity for flexibility. Again, you see the garage doors between the spaces from the CAD lab and from the clean printer laser lab, as well as the raw material lab. You'll also see a dedicated meeting space and some storage just for classroom storage as far as that goes. But when you look at the designs, again, we look at existing space that's converted is 3,000. Overall space is 7,230.
And again, we still have to figure out a restroom, how we're going to do that. We have some ability in the hallway directly out, possibly. We're still working with the architects. We think that's a good idea to have some dedicated space for that. That way people don't have to run all the way through the building. We had different activities. The beauty of this is we have the ability to have it self-contained, its own entrance off of the main parking lot where the main office is, all those things. And so we are really excited to be able to have this. If we're using it on Saturdays or Sundays for different groups, it's able to be its own self-contained area.
And then over here, where you see that exterior garage door, that would be concrete area for those trailers to back in if they're dropping off the robot. You don't want to get it wet, right? You want to keep that dry. So overall, very similar in square footage, size, shape, purpose, design, layout, the flow between the spaces to help support that open planning concept, as well as help alleviate some of the noise issues as you come in to some of these spaces. Exterior for West, this is a sample of what the exterior for West would look like again. Again, we take advantage of that high bay, which is so important, not only for classroom experience, which we argue about all the time. He's afraid of throwing things over the edge.
I don't want anybody jumping off of the top.
I'm excited about you guys
yeah.
throwing things over the edge, but maybe that's not a good plan.
One of the things that we still, we have a lot of windows here, and we still have some different thoughts about how that might go all the way, kind of like Central's did, to go that entire corridor. We've got some work still to take a look. So would love some feedback on what you think about the windows in this part. I kind of like the idea more as you walk towards the office of having it all there. So again, you could have banners and the window cleans and those things and have it, because again, you're walking right to the front office now. That was all a new vestibule that's been completely redone. This is where students enter and exit, and parents and folks across enter that building. And so again, like Central, we want it to be that centerpiece as people are walking in to be able to see the amazing STEM facilities that we'll have.
And so this is the walkway up to that main entrance at West. So you see some windows, but we had talked about what those look like if they continue on.
In one of the conversations too, because we have the garage door, we are probably going to end up putting a garage door in the gym area over there as well. So if we do at West robotics competitions and stuff, it's easier to back trailers, those kind of things directly in with a garage door off of the gym as well. That's something we're going to look at in the future.
So overall, the facilities, will be rivaled by, they're high quality, top-notch facilities. There are very few places that you see the ability to allow for flexibility, and I'll go back one slide, but that flexibility in space and the use of spaces, multi-use spaces. So super excited about that, excited about the ability to offer really a high-quality STEM program and facilities, which, I mean, that's really the next step, those two together.
Yep. And so our plan would actually be to, this summer, we would be closing off some sections of the building. And the plan is to break ground in September for both of the buildings, to actually go out for the bids starting this late spring and summer, to present that to the board for approval, and hopefully to have that groundbreaking, and then hopefully to be able to have the facilities open for the fall of 25 for our kids.
So very quick timeline, super excited about it. Excited for the students the most, you know, for you guys to be able to experience the space. So thank you.
All right, so we're going to open this up for Q&A, and I would like to make several requests. First of all, we know there's a lot of folks who are passionate about STEM that are here this evening, and about education, and want to just make sure that any feedback or questions that you have, respectful and constructive. I think that goes without saying, but in today's day and age, we're just erring on the side of caution. If you could ask one question at a time, and if you have multiple questions, wait for an opportunity for the microphone to come back to you. We will be walking the microphones around. We have folks who are viewing remotely, and so those of you who are online, feel free to type questions into the chat, and we'll read those off. And once again, please keep questions and comments focused on the STEM and robotics labs themselves, and we'll have a separate opportunity to talk about curriculum programs.
I would mention, you know, for curriculum in that element, I have superintendent's office hours every month. I'm generally every other month. I'm in person at Horizon Bookstore, and then I'm online the opposite month for folks that maybe can't make it downtown in the evening. So those are always open for you to have the opportunity to be able to have those kind of curriculum. Any questions like that, to just give some very good and dialogue that's just you know, not formal, very informal, to be able to sit. So I'd invite you, if you have some of those kind of things you want to talk about, I'm always available for that. So.
Sure.
Okay, so questions? You've got question. Okay, you got one in the back.
Hello. I was just curious because, like, I really love that you've thought about currently what's already in use, and like I'm really loving the idea of the kiddos going through like raw materials lab, the CAD lab, etc. I'm not overly familiar, so could you help me understand if this includes like any additional lab equipment or materials and the furniture as well, or is this just the remodel of the building?
Yeah, we'll have some, you know, we do have a lot already, but I think we see some different things of tables that are movable, you know, on wheels, a lot more industrial kind of in that aspect with that. I think one of the things we really want to make sure to see is, we've talked a lot about a Haas mini CNC in each building that we don't have right now. As I've talked to teachers, and I know Heidi as well, that's one thing that we know is an industry standard. So we want our kids to be able to learn on that Haas programming pad. So we do have some elements like that that we want to build in, and add some 3D printers to make sure we have enough, you know, and you're not waiting on printing. So we have a lot of that as well that we'll be putting in, but we have a lot of equipment as well that's great, you know, very usable equipment to also put in the facilities.
I would say probably it's going to be 50-50 on equipment, because we've really worked the last few years with some grant dollars to be able to actually start picking away at the equipment. So it's probably 50% of the equipment we're using that's existing right now. The other 50 would come in new, and simply that has to do with the amount of space we had. We couldn't actually add those pieces. So 50-50, I would say.
We have a question online as well. Suzanne Thielen asks, what are you doing for high school students is awesome. Any plans for high school students to mentor middle school STEM students and for middle school students to mentor elementary students?
We're doing a lot of that. So for instance, I'll let Heidi talk. We do our Super Science Saturday. So if you want to talk just a little bit about that, we do. So we do have those, but again, open to looking at more as we get facility and elements. So you want to talk just a little bit about
Sure.
those things?
Yeah, Super Science Saturday is one that was founded by Raptor Robotics, and both robotics teams actually help support that process. And it's bringing all those elementary kids, not only from TCAPS, but from around our region, in to help support that science and STEM education. So we actually have worked really hard. That's actually been a focus of ours, not only between our robotics teams this year, but how do we build that not only collaboration between teams, but also build up that mentorship program between the older students in high school and younger students. We are not there yet, but that actually is on our list of areas of improvement, and it's actually written in the robotics programming. Like, how are you going to build and expand your programs to elementary and middle school students? So robotics lends itself naturally to that, but there's other opportunities that we haven't actually explored yet.
And then we have things like our TCAPS Day of Coding, hour of coding, and those elements that we're infusing in as well. But a lot of those things take operational dollars different than bond dollars. A lot of people don't understand that we're able to use money for certain things by law, and so that's operational dollars. And we are in the bottom third of funding in the state of Michigan as a school district. So it's really hard, from an operational, when about 85% of our costs are human resources, that it's really hard that we're not able to compete with a lot of downstate schools and others that just quite honestly have more funding to be able to do so many things. But we've got lots of different ideas, looking to stretch dollars to do that. So we're going to continue to try and attack that in every way that we can.
Yeah, and we did have high school students go in for Hour of Code. I think they went to Montessori. And where else did you guys go? We went to a couple different schools. Maybe Willow Hill might have been another one, but they actually went into the elementary classroom to help with that.
Excuse me. Got a question over here.
Hi, Bob O'Hara from Newton's Road. John and Heidi, thanks for the presentation. This is very exciting and great stuff. It's good to hear that you are well set for funding for this, but anytime you start a planning process, doing new buildings, something gets left out at the end. What did you leave out that you would have liked to have had in this?
I just think that there's more and more of the larger machine stuff that a lot of our employers do, but those are large manufacturing facilities. So for instance, would you love to have a full Haas CNC machine? To be able to do, but the practicality of that and even the cost of materials and all those elements, that's really, really tough from that. I think some of the areas that, we will look at in the future is trying to partner maybe with some of our CTE partners to look, for instance, at, at some point, do you look at welding, some of the HVAC and things that might be involved with that. We're just not sure that that's, what this space will be used for. I think, with our Career Tech Center having so much of that and state of the art that is done that way, I think we have some questions, like what's one of the things somebody put in is like welding technology. And we just don't know that that's the right fit for this. It's something we're going to have to figure out. But again, we have plans and different things as we begin to turn towards our next bond and look at that, or maybe that's something we begin like, some of the emerging technologies with AI and so many of these things we're starting to see with virtual welders that we might be able to move down to our lower levels. So a lot of questions on that still that I think, you don't want to overdo it and have a building as well that's so full you're not able to move around. So I think we'll learn still as we get into it for a couple of years, and this isn't the end all. We will continue because as somebody mentioned to me, technology is going to change, as well over the next 3 to 5 years, that, that Haas CNC mill that we get now, 7 years probably is going to be old technology. That how do we look at replacing that? So I think that's something we're going to have to look at too.
Okay, I think we got a question online, and then we've got a couple more after that.
All right, we got Susan back again. Superintendent, what do you need your community to do to increase money for STEM locally?
Well, I think advocating with our legislators for specific categorical funding for especially lower level STEM. I'll tell you, our first robotics, our kids do an unbelievable job with their mentors and our staff members. Heidi, everybody that works with that program, we get very little from the state for that. How much do we get per team from Michigan?
Well, it depends. So like the high school robotics teams, I think it's 6,000, and then if they advance, they get a little bit more, but
Right.
not anything compared to what they fundraise each year.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking, it's easily a $30,000, $40,000 endeavor for us to be able to do that. So we put some district funds that we have towards it, but we sure would like some very specific categoricals that our legislators look at as we need to improve and have people working in these STEM fields and for our economy, for economic development. We really need some specific resources dedicated towards that. And the other thing I would think of, I think for us to start having conversations on is, as we have people that maybe want to look at doing donations and those kind of things, could we, for instance, work with maybe the community foundation to set up some type of endowment that actually guarantees some kind of funding and staffing, whether the state goes up and down with the economy, that keeps that consistent? I think that's one thing that I would love to sit with a group and explore about how we can have this consistent and know it's there for the future.
Yeah, my question is about the IT room, specifically at West. I didn't notice the size of the room at Central. I'm just thinking about going into the future, and I'm new to STEM, but I'm just looking at the size of the room and thinking about if there are, more and more, needs for different computers or towers and things. And maybe this is a question for you or some of the robotics students, but I'm just wondering if we're taking the time to do such a fantastic job on building this, if that room will really be big enough to house what's coming, number one. And then number two, would we need to think about things such as ventilation or air circulation
Yeah.
in that corner? where
And that
it's
is in
located?
this. So air conditioning, we're gonna have to put in those rooms, to keep
Right.
those things cool. That is all in the plans. But I would appreciate if you put that note on a sticky note, for
Sure.
us to talk about capacity. One of the things to realize is, depending on where the location of these are in the building, there is some IT other rooms that are not that far away. So at Central, it was farther away than it was some of the servers and some of those, the different AP points for internet, those kind of elements. We're a little closer at West, but it's a good question for us to ask about the future. Is there enough capacity there? Is that something that, we need to look at, or do we feel satisfied that that's there? Really haven't had the chance, again, like I told you, 3:00 is when we kind of have this. So really to be able to sit down with Evan and our IT team to really have that discussion with our architects, that's something we're going to have to do. But I'd appreciate it, write that on a note so we have that.
Yeah, and we actually had that conversation when we first got these, and Evan was saying, well, I can tell you that we had this giant room for IT in the last time we did this, and now we're down to about half the space that we need to accommodate it. So, I mean, we aren't relying on the architects to tell us what we need for the IT closet or the space. That will come from, he has a company that he works with that helps to decide really how much space is needed and make sure we expand for growth. And I'm going to go back to the previous question about funding.
Yep.
So one of the things it's important for people in our area, I always say that in this area we are geographically disadvantaged, because if coming from the Metro Detroit area where we were with the automotive companies all around there, we would have companies donate $10,000 at a time, right, to support, or we had Bosch as a sponsor and GM and Ford. And so the amount of work that these young people have to do to fundraise, to support their robotics programming is completely different than what a lot of the schools have to do downstate. So that's an important note and almost a call out for, business and industries within our community and how they can support at a greater level, knowing that we want our kids' work not only focused on fundraising and building those relationships with business and industry and mentors, but also focused on the teaching and learning and that learning side of robotics, where they're not frantic about, how am I going to raise this money to get to the next competition? So to build something overall STEM-wise, not only robotics, but programmatically, that's sustainable.
Got a question
To follow up on that IT question, I appreciate you bringing that up. I noticed so at Central, it's 95 square foot and at West, it's 75 square foot. So as a CEO of an IT company, I'm wondering who they're talking to about that and if they'd like to talk to someone with experience to make that better, because that's maybe a closet worth, but if we're wanting to teach people, that would be beneficial to make it a space worthwhile.
And, you know, we have a pretty robust IT team. We have an entire data center that we run that's been designed. So we will rely on those same folks as we go through that element, that we'll have that professional help to make sure that we have it, you know, really strong.
Is that who we talk to for 75 square foot and 95 square foot?
This is just preliminary.
This is
Everything
preliminary,
is.
just from architect, literally, you know, from today, from that standpoint. We haven't had the chance to give feedback on some of those components like that. That's exactly what this is for, to give thoughts like that from people and professionals so we can take that back and have those discussions.
Sounds like a good thing to put on a sticky note.
Yep.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jacob Bruch. I'm on West's team here, and so I gotta preface this by saying we are incredibly proud to be able to see these drawings and see them and imagine them. You know, the renders are incredible, and really gives us some hope for the future. And so as this facility gets underway and when it's finished and it begins to be used, how will we see the classroom environments and team environments, which have two, you know, very different demands for the space? How are we going to see those facilities being cared for by the teams and, you know, class sizes alike? Because and as a second question, kind of to piggyback off that, how are we going to see this facility handle a larger robotics team? Because right now, you know, each year we're seeing kids, you know, 28, about 28 kids per year, you know, and that's, you know, plus or minus with mentors and faculty. So we're hoping to increase our size to 40, 50, and, you know, to compete with teams downstate. We're looking to, you know, it'd be amazing to get up to 100, you know, where we're working on massive scales. It's like, how will we see this facility accommodate larger teams while also, you know, treating the classroom on a different set of demands?
Well, I think we're going to have to rely on staff to really, you know, talk about what that looks like. I've had the chance to go and see some different schools downstate that share space. I think we're going to have to make sure there's dedicated storage is one big thing for robotics teams to have versus, you know, the AP, you know, computer science from those elements. I think that, you know, we probably are going to have to be a little bit more tidy, you know, and working with partners that we're not, you know, leaving things out at night because the class will have to be there that next day. At the same point, I think there will be an ability to have dedicated space. You know, fortunately, we have staff that work with both teams that are also teachers in the building and that. So we're going to, you know, we'll have to work at that from that standpoint, I think. And then, you know, size-wise, I can tell you, you know, as we've looked at this space compared to what a lot of, you know, the Novis and the folks that have larger teams like that, they don't have space generally this big, you know, down there from those larger teams. So we think that we're in really, really good shape that way. But again, you know, if we were to see more and more and more students, that's a great thing. It's something that we always have to look at to the future. You know, if we had an opportunity and more students to expand, that'd be a great thing for us to look at in a future bond from that standpoint, if we had that, you know. But again, right now, unfortunately, with enrollment, we're just seeing less students. We're projected to have 190 less students in the district next year. So, you know, from that standpoint, we just don't see the numbers that, you know, are dictating that, but we would sure love to see that trend reverse from that standpoint.
And then I would add, as far as growing robotics, I mean, I came from Farmington where we had, I think when we left, 86, almost 90 students on a team. It's nutso. I'm not sure if you want that. But it was a whole lot of fun. But I mean, that was a process of growth and expansion each year in making sure we're planning for that. Like, how are we using the spaces? What spaces do we need in addition to that? How do we work closely with the teachers that are using the space to make sure everybody gets what they need, right? So it's not a full-time robotic space. It's not a full-time TCAP space. And I think a lot of the programming and the decision to put these at West and Central is really around that. Like, if you were to build a full robotics center outside of this, access for students, because our goal is, how do you get the most kids access to high quality facilities and training? And by attaching them to the school, Kids don't have to go to a separate location. There's opportunities to have 2 teams instead of 1, and that allows for collaboration across town as well as a paced expansion. So this space, I mean, I've been in smaller spaces and worked with over 80 students. You can do it. This space is designed for that. And if we are so big we need to expand, then we're obviously in a really good space.
We got a question over here, but I'm going to also just note that we have about 16, 17 minutes left. And so we'll try to move questions along quickly here. Okay.
Hi, my name is Katie Innes. I actually have just 2 comments that I'm hoping that you'll take into consideration. The facility looks amazing, but the facility is only ever going to be as great as the people you have leading the program. And I just want to speak up for Chris Schaefer here, who has led students to Worlds every year for the past 4 years, my son being one of them. And he is a wealth of knowledge, experience, and passion that is above everything else. And so I just want to encourage you, if you want a successful robotics program, bring in someone that has that information, that passion and knowledge that can help that program grow, and who also has the world-class experience, literally, of the success and the trophies. And you had mentioned about having an off-site program. Currently, Chris runs his program off-site. So imagine if you bring that talent to your facility, and just with the reputation that he already has and the success that he's already brought, that alone is going to bring people into your program. So that's my first comment. My second one, real quick, is you had also mentioned in your opening about the decline in enrollment. I would argue that a lot of that decline is because families are choosing to homeschool their kids versus the public school system. One way that you could consider possibly bringing those families back into the fold is to offer this program to homeschool families as a buy-in option, to have these students that are being taught at home, to invite them into your school. Perhaps they buy in, but they can be part of the program and learn and bring back into the school system. That might actually even increase your enrollment.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Andy Loveland. I see things starting to gel with these plans and all that stuff. Is there a point in the near future where you're going to be able to brainstorm with people that would be using these facilities, stakeholders, whether they're industry, whether they're mentors and the like, to make sure that these things have the little details that will make this first class?
Yeah.
Will we have those opportunities in the future, very near future, by the looks of things, to be able to make comment on that?
Yeah, one of the
Brainstorm
things, one of the
sessions.
things that, as I've gone through a couple, construction projects, we walk through constantly, as the process is happening. And, you might sit and go, boy, that corner right there, just if it was like this, we'd be able to put that machine in there, and the way it is right now, not. So, you work with a construction management company, architects continually as you go. There might be a change order here or there that does some of that. So we will consistently work with folks in both buildings, our teaching staff, our mentors, to be able to have those thoughts as we go through, to make sure that, again, that we're not missing anything, that one little thing that could make a great difference, we want to make sure doesn't happen.
To do it, it's cheap to do it now. Change orders are expensive.
It is, but sometimes when you sit and look, and the way it looks on paper, sometimes that corner isn't quite, so you do try, and I absolutely 100% agree. You try to avoid it as much as possible. At the same point, I'm not going to sit if it could make a little difference, and we are down that road, to just say, well, sorry, we're already too late. I'm not going to do that. I want to make sure it's right from that aspect.
All right. So it's been a 10-year bond for this project, correct? So why do we think that we haven't seen progress or plans until now?
Well, first of all, I think COVID had a lot to do with construction. If you look at our Montessori building, we are well over a year behind on that. So getting a lot of construction materials, the architect, those elements, it hasn't moved as fast, all construction across the district from that standpoint. Can't really speak to before. I mean, I've only been in my 3rd year. I came, very mid-project from that standpoint when Montessori was started already. But at this point, we are finally through Montessori. We take occupancy in about 2 weeks. And so we're able to move this forward because the problem is you only have so many people that do bricklaying and so many electricians and they're really, really hard to find right now. So there are times with some of our projects, we put out bids and had nobody bid. And so we had to go put it back out for bid and try and find people. So that's one of the elements at this point that I do believe probably put it behind a year. The Montessori project was probably a big piece of that. But at this point, we're able to move forward to be able to have that, moving. And there are other things that are still after this, but we've made sure that at this point it's prioritized to make sure that we're ready to break ground and get this thing done.
I was at a meeting in December at the board meeting where it was discussed there was money taken out of the bond fund for the STEM program. Is that going to be replaced? Because I'm still confused about that.
So the biggest part of this is when we did this in the original plans, especially with the west ones, there was space that was renovated. We were able to take some existing classroom space, about 2,500 square foot, and incorporate it into this. Same with at Central High School, we were able to take about 2,200 square foot and renovate that so we didn't have to build new. So when we look at our entire bond project and what we can do for kids, we have lots of different things that are on that list that we wanted to finish off in making sure everybody has high quality facilities. And we were able to accomplish that with this. That being said, we still have $1.5 million that we have set aside in contingency to make sure if for some reason our construction costs, those things are too high, as we bid these things out, we've got the money to make sure we're able to do what we're showing on the paper to be able to do with all that renovated space. But no, we had a pretty good idea with doing the renovations of what the renovations would save us by having that square footage from that standpoint. We had that discussion long ago with the construction manager and architects.
On that same line, so the number was 2 million that went into AstroTurf. Is this then, what is the portion of the bond that's actually going forward to renovate these spaces and build new spaces? Is it 1.5 or is it a 5 million?
Right now, we're about a $7.5 to $8 million is what they're identifying right now for this with the renovated space.
And with the follow-up to that
all of that
is these plans you say came back today.
Yep.
So knowing that to the student's question, this was a 5-year bond and we're now or 10-year bond and we're halfway through that process.
Yep.
Does that mean that these drawings were asked to, let's create them and start the community conversation after the community got upset about a record or a ticker article?
No. This has been placed since I've got here, and finally we've gotten the architects. One of the things is because the way that the bond funds come in, we have a cash flow. Yep, we have a cash flow. So when you look at the Montessori building that had that money, we had to wait until we got close. We have a bond sale in May that happens, and so we can't start using money off of that sale until about 90 days before it to be able to pay for the architect, pay for those things to be able to do that. So we are now on our next, we still have another bond sale yet even after this for cash. So right now we finally got our cash flow money in to be able to pay for this to all be done and have this done moving forward. At that point with Montessori, we used all of the money plus the contingency to be able to do Montessori, stayed in budget, but we didn't have any extra cash flow to be able to pay for these services to be able to be done. And so we're just now able to have that money with the May sale coming and have that, and we're able to pay forward to all the services to be moved forward.
This is okay. So from what you're just explaining with the Montessori, that there wasn't enough funds to continue. So if you're redirecting monies to other areas before you even know if you're going to have enough to cover everything you need, not to mention that there's a lot of things that we need to buy as far as equipment to get this up and running, right? It just seems a little premature if we are diverting monies to other areas, if it was supposed to be designated for STEM, that maybe we need to hang on to that and see what is left when it's all said and done. Then if there's extra monies, we can divvy things out into different directions.
And we already have some of that. So we, for instance, part of it was our transportation facility and that being done. We got that back, and that came in $1 million under budget. That was just recently. We got those back about a month ago. So we know we have the cash flow still to make sure we're able to do this project right. The board is fully committed to make sure this project gets done right, gets done what's promised for it, so that we have that facility that was promised.
I'm my voice. I'm Ronan. I'm on the robotics team. I'm wondering what considerations were put in place for safety and facilities like dust collection, high phase power outlets all over the place because I know we're going to need it. Hand washing stations. We use grease a lot.
Yep. And a lot of that per code we have to put in with building code from that aspects, but all those HVAC, air conditioning again in parts we're talking right now, what that looks like to be able to have. So all of that's going to have to be in play in the HVAC system that we will have the architects, they've all taken that into play.
Okay.
And then we'll get into very specifics as we continue moving forward with the planning.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Joan O'Neill. I'm a parent, and I appreciate the effort gone into this. I know we weren't supposed to talk about it, but I do want to raise my hand and be part of the conversation and make sure it doesn't end here about the programming for STEM. I've coached robotics at the elementary level. These kids are begging for it. I have a middle school child, nowhere to go for robotics except for seeking independent coaches. They want to represent their school too. So please let me be happy to be part of the conversation.
Would love for you to come to one of my coffees, sit and have the discussion.
Oh, I did talk to a board member a couple weeks ago.
We'll come to mine so I can sit and have it. So.
Okay.
Just very briefly, I like the fact that you've got them all together like this, so that if you, in safety considerations, need to keep your school closed, you still have open areas for robotics. Am I saying it correct? That's good planning, I think, just because I think kids are going to be using this off hours, weekends, that kind of things, and it's good to have it encapsulated like that. Good design.
Hi, Christy Halverson, parent and actually architect. In that regard, I'm questioning. It sounds like there hasn't been any reach out to the students that are using this space, and I'm quite surprised at that as an architect that the group hasn't been walked through the space. Groups asked questions. I think it's a little late in the process, but I think it's important you get their input.
So I think a lot of that happened early on in the process with it. I think at this point when we have these, that's part of the night. We've invited the kids. We'll continue to have that. Talk with the mentors, that element to make sure that it's functional from that standpoint for them.
So if there was extra money left over after allocating everything for this, why wasn't that put towards facilities at, say, the middle schools and elementary schools? Why was it sent to other places other than STEM?
So I think when you have a bond, there was money in a lot of different projects put in. So there was athletics put in. There were those things in there from that element. There are things that had certain cost to it. Some were over, some were under from that standpoint. So we actually have to plan with Treasury. If we're going to do something at the middle school, like a STEM lab, we actually have to, when the bond is done, we have to sit with Treasury and say, we want to do this in this building from that standpoint. So that's something in a future bond here. If we want to look at the middle school ones, we can sit and say to Treasury, here's an area we would like to do in this building. They have to approve when you do stuff in a building and touch it per your language that you have those plans all to them when you do it, just as general thought from that standpoint. So I think if that's something we want to look at with middle school, I think we can do at this point still. I think it probably is going to take additional addition or a complete renovation of some areas. It's going to be a large area. We really don't have any of those large areas right now at the middle school level to sit and look at with that. So I do think that's something that as we sit in the next one, so our board is already beginning the discussion of the next bond for a possible August 2024, that we sit and have those conversations about for middle school. And we're even looking at what might we be able to look at. There's some grants and different things, even Verizon is starting to sponsor. We've had the chance to see at some elementary schools what would that begin to look like so we could move forward with that?
Hi, my name is Lisa, and I am actually a parent of multi-sport children, and so they don't participate in STEM. So I just think it's important that I have a voice in that. There has to be encouragement for collaboration and education on both sides. And these invitations to your coffee conversations are extremely important. Attending and listening to board meetings and knowing how the process works is extremely important. Getting those board members to engage in the conversations with these students is extremely important. So I just want to raise my hand and say, we got to just keep talking and work together collaboratively and show up when you're invited. So everybody being here and seeing all these kids here, that is stand up in my mind. And that means this is an important conversation. So everybody that worked really hard to come here tonight and cancel plans with their family and organize this conversation, I appreciate all of you, and thank you.
And we're down to our last question. Oh, no. Can't be the last.
Someone's going to have to go after me. Promise. You're going to want somebody to ask a question after me. I'm Tara Hochstetler. My son Jackson just spoke beautifully. I'm just going to say what I'm thinking, and I think I'm probably not alone. It feels, as a parent of a robotics kid, that the money is being taken away from the nerds and given to the jocks. That is how it feels. And you're exactly right. I haven't been to a bunch of meetings, so I take your point, and I will definitely take your advice, and we'll go from there. That's kind of how it feels. And I have not heard you answer the question of why was $2 million taken away and given to AstroTurf instead of being redistributed within the STEM program. And from Jackson's question, what I heard was, well, we have to go through a different set of rules to figure out how to give it to the middle school. And I think I would love to know, how come you can take it from one department and give it to another, but you can't give it to another middle school within the same type of program? Is that too big of a question to answer right now?
No, but you can't use it for operational dollars. You can only do bricks and mortar kind of things with this money. It's bond money. It's not a millage that used to in 1994 when they changed the rules. You can't use it for operational to pay, for a trip, for a coach, for materials. Any of that is not allowed under the language of the state of Michigan with a bond. So what are you asking specifically then? Because we were able to do some renovations to be able to save some money by being able to take these different rooms that we have, use that footage rather than having empty rooms sit in buildings, because we do have empty rooms sitting over the place with less enrollment. Use the bond dollars wisely for that to renovate those spaces. And when we have that, we had some other things that were over cost that were not able to be completely funded from that standpoint, because all the athletic facilities and those things were also promised in the bond to taxpayers. Yep. And so making sure that we could do everything we could for all kids and still get the opportunity to have the same kind of space, the same great element, be able to utilize that space. That was the decision that was taken, and that's what we did with that to make sure that we didn't just have rooms that sit empty. Because I don't think from that standpoint we want to be cleaning rooms empty, those kind of things. And so when we looked at this, if you look at the 5,000 square foot we were able to renovate, that's the difference in that cost we were able to do.
So we
That is correct. And we still have that now. So when we're looking at our projects that we have, when we look at transportation, we're $1 million under what we were originally. That's something we're going to be able to put into something here moving forward. We still have some different things along the road here that the board is still continuing to look at to say, what are some few projects, some things here, that we could do to make sure that we're optimally using those funds. And so the board will continue to look at that. There's still money there. There's still a sale that's happening. There's a smaller $10, $11 million sale that happens last year. There's still some decisions and things on from that standpoint. So it's just trying to take those dollars and spread them across as far as we could to make sure that we have great facilities for everybody. That's our goal of what we're trying to do.
And on that note, I know there was a number of questions that folks still had, and I'm sorry that we're out of time. I would encourage all of you to take up the opportunity, speak with Dr. Van Wagner, with the board. For me, reaching out, they've been very responsive. They've been, it's been a great exchange, and I would encourage all of you to keep the discussion going. And I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and appreciate Dr. Van Wagner and Heidi for coming and spending the time this evening. Oh, I apologize. I tell you what, we'll take that offline. But I know we need to. We'll have to. Yeah, we really do need to close down here. The Opera House has been very gracious and let us going about 5 minutes over already. And so, thank you everyone for coming out this evening. Thank you again for hosting this, and we'll look forward to continuing the dialogue.